Scott and I have been having some very interesting conversations lately, and we got started on the subject of trade-offs around food and life, and that kind of led us down the path of why dieting doesn't work. I had a handful of thoughts about the different reasons that it doesn't work, but the first one that we really kind of hit upon was bargaining with time and bargaining with ourselves. When we are dieting, we make a bargain that I'm going to eat this way for this amount of time. I'm going to eat a low-fat, high-carb diet for 6 months, and at the end of the 6 months, I can go back to eating whatever I want. Or bargaining with ourselves that I'm going to give up these foods, but at a certain period in time in the future, I can get back to eating whatever I want to get. In my eyes, this is a huge failure. And most of you guys know that I have done all the way from organic veganism to eating white boiled potatoes to keto to Weight Watchers and beyond on the spectrum. I did tons of dieting over my past 20 years of being obese. But what causes the failure is I'm going to eat this way for this period of time, and then I'm going to go back to the way I started. But the way I got there eating the standard American diet, that's what got me to 360 pounds. How could I realistically expect to have a permanent, long-term change if I'm only willing to change what I eat for a short window? This led to all of the yo-yo dieting I did, and the frustration, the guilt, the shame, the everything that went along with it. But when I look back on that now, it's just like, it's crystal clear why. Because I was only willing to do it for a short window to lose X amount of pounds, and then was like, I'm done. This never let me address why I got to 360 pounds eating those foods. So the bargaining that I'm going to do this for this period of time, it's just a big old failure. I think that's the number one reason dieting fails, because it fails to address why we got where we got. Something that's helped me kind of change my view of versus doing a carnivorous dieting to a carnivorous diet that is a lifestyle is using things that help control my appetite. One of them that I like to use is LMNT Electrolyte Mix. It has sodium, magnesium, and potassium in it, which really help because I'm not getting it from the foods I used to eat. But it helps with muscle cramps, headaches, fatigue, the carb withdrawal that we get from going from a high carb to a low to no carb diet. Another reason that I like using LMNT personally is because it has no gluten, fillers, artificial coloring, has no artificial flavors or any of that stuff in it. Right now, LMNT's offering a 8-pack sample pack free with any purchase. You just need to go to drinklmnt.com/carnivorous me. That's drinklmnt.com/carnivorous me. Kind of another thought behind that is that type of thinking is goal orientated. I'm going to continue this until I get 150 pounds. It's that chasing the carrot. I'm going to keep doing this until I get there and then I'll be happy. But then you get there and you're never actually happy. Like, I'll be happy when I get to 150 pounds. But then if I got to 150 pounds, it's like I'm chasing that carrot of happiness and the goal keeps moving beyond further and further. Dieting, that's the mentality, is you're chasing that carrot of happiness. I will be happy once I complete this diet and lose X amount of weight. But it never ends that way because our happiness first to me, it's not a constant thing. I have moments of happiness, I have moments of neutrality, and that's okay. But I will never be happy all the time, every second of every day. And seeking that, I think, is, at least for me, was one of the worst things. And letting it go was one of the big albatrosses off my shoulders. And then bargains kind of rolls into trade-offs. They're very similar to my mind. The trade-off I used to do is I would eat a cookie to feel better. I was trading future Amanda's life for present Amanda's comfort. What's that saying? It's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. Well, the cookie that I was eating was a way to not deal with the emotions that I was feeling. Dieting never, ever addresses eating your emotions. It does not address the mental and emotional aspect of how we got where we got. It only focuses on the food. If you only ever focus on the food, well, the food, it's the side effect of the emotional and mental health, right? We use the food to soothe something going on in here. So if you only focus on the food, but you're not focusing on why you need the mental and emotional soothing, you can only white knuckle it or force through willpower for so long before you fall off, and then you go back to eating the way you were and then gaining it plus more back, and then the shame and the guilt and this downward spiral, and now you're 50 pounds heavier than where you started. A second reason dieting does not work is it focuses on the superficial aspect of who we are. It's focusing on that number on the scale, on the physical attributes, but it completely negates the emotional, mental, personal growth that goes along with, instead of dieting, a journey. I am on the carnivore diet. That's just the type of food that I eat, but I am on a carnivorous lifestyle journey, and I always will be. I mean, that's a big difference, because I know you guys have seen some of my titles say carnivore diet. All that does is explain what my dietary intake is. It's not a diet in the traditional, I'm going to do this for a short period of time and then go back to the way I was eating. Nah, it is a complete lifestyle for myself and Scott, honestly. It is so much more than just the physical changes. That goes back to the chasing the carrot, that if I get 150 pounds, I'll be happy, but then you get there and then you're not happy. Why? Because it focuses on one part of us, not the deeper rooted parts of who we are as people. I just think it's just such a terrible thing to do, is try to split up who we are and focus on one aspect, and you get that right, but then you've neglected the mental and the emotional part of us. And honestly, that's the biggest part of us. Our external part of us just reflects the internal part of who we are. There are probably thousands of different reasons people can think of why dieting doesn't work. These are just some of the more prominent ones I think of. Something that sticks out like a sore thumb is expecting permanent change with a temporary amount of effort. Is anything permanent in life that takes temporary amount of effort? Not really that I know of. I guess unless you get incarcerated, but that's a different story.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, that's the only thing I can genuinely think of.
Pregnancy also, that's a kind of a permanent change.
Okay, well, let's talk about positive impacts, not negative.
Pregnancy can be positive.
It can be. Let's talk about positive impacts. If you put just, a few ounces of effort in, do you expect to get pounds of rewards? To me, life really doesn't work that way. You have to put a lot of effort in the beginning, and then you'll have sustained rewards over your lifetime. And that's why, dieting's terrible. It creates this yo-yo mentality. It makes things turn into good and bad. I did good because I followed the diet that I'm doing, but I'm bad because I had something off. And then it leads to shame and guilt versus focusing on making it a journey. I've seen quite a few comments lately when people are just focusing on the weight, weighing themselves every day. And I'm not saying anybody's bad for doing this. All I'm saying is maybe don't focus so much on the number. It has importance and relevance to know if you're at least headed in the right direction, but then it's turned this into this dieting, which is going to lead to yo-yo dieting, which is going to be, you hit a bump, you're going to see yourself as a failure and quit. And I don't want anybody to do that, because a couple times I've gained a couple pounds doing carnivore, but then the next week I dropped multiple pounds. It is a journey, and journeys don't get derailed by something going awry. You just have to reroute your path and get back headed the direction you want to go. Dieting? Nah. Dieting has a final goal, and when you get there, then you don't know what to do with yourself. Whatever you're doing for your health, it is a journey, not a destination. Once you get healthy, do you stop being healthy? Do you stop taking those tasks and activities that made you healthy? Do you quit them? No, because if you do, you go back to where you started, or at least back that direction. This is absolutely a journey. And the best part about it is once you really get that, once I really got that and clicked, when I would have an off carnivore meal, That was okay. Like, I didn't aim for it, but it happened. The next day, I didn't have to worry about what I was going to do. Like, do I have to cut calories? Do I need to skip meals? Do I need to fast for 3 days to make up for this? No, I just need to go back to eating my carnivore meals. Why? Because it's a journey. It is not a race. That is the biggest thing is, oh my gosh, letting go of the goal. Because it is a journey, I am not racing against anything. I'm not racing against another person, especially not racing against my own expectations of I should lose weight this fast because this is what I think. I let that go. It's a journey. I'm here for the ride. I'm here to learn and grow and get better, not to poo-poo on myself for not meeting some arbitrary expectation I set on myself. So to sum it up, dieting doesn't work. Change your perspective. Zoom out a little bit. Look at your life and realize you are worth a forever journey towards health. Every person is.